You want full authority? You want that? You want all that power? You have to be able to accept that everything that has happened in your life, in your experience, from your concept, from your being able to perceive it and see, you have to be able to accept that you created that too. Otherwise, you're divided. You're not the yin and yang. You have to accept that all of it. And it's empowering. It helps you to see and move forward and create better and evolve and grow. The separated halves can become one. You can become whole. But if everything good comes from a good one and everything bad comes from a bad one, then you're divided. Welcome and welcome back. Thank you, Mother, Father, Creator, for bringing us together. This video is finding you at the right time. It's timeless and it's timely. I'm going to go ahead and say it. This might be the most important video you hear all day, all week, maybe even all year. If you've been on our channel before, you know that we go deep. So stay tuned, stay with us to the end of the conversation because we're going there, okay? I found for myself today let me back up. This message is coming to you today because right now you are at a point in your evolution where you know that there is something that is holding you back. You've had success with manifesting, as have we all. You've had success with being able to show yourself that you are the creator of your reality. You've seen the universe, God, at work in your life in magical ways. And yet, the experience that you are creating and living in aren't materializing. It's not in its fullness. And you would know. You would know if it were. And that hasn't happened yet. So you are here to understand what is causing the separation. Why is it just out of reach? I'm going to speak from my experience, how this has found me. If you are like me, you're able to hold the thought, you're able to hold the feeling in the state of the end, the wish fulfilled, but you're pulled You feel this pull that you can't escape, that brings you back to the problem, that brings you back to incompletion, that brings you back to worrying, ruminating, rehearsing unwanted scenarios and stories. And you're aware, you're outside of it, but for some reason, it's like you are a slave in your mind to this pattern and this loop, to return to, it's not done, it's not here. This morning, I was able to connect with one very small story, and it seemed insignificant. And before I get to this small story that helped reveal in me where the separation occurred, I just want to say, I want to put it here. If you are under what you would call a spiritual attack, if you are, swarmed in your mind and in your body by intrusive thoughts, and old belief systems, and it's just feeling really thick and heavy, and it's like that scene from Snow White when she's going through the forest. If you're in that type of a moment, and I used air quotes when I said energetic attack because there's two ways to see this situation, okay? The two ways that you can see the situation is the first one I mentioned, a spiritual attack, okay? The enemy trying to hold you down, okay? Another way that you can see this, and this is given to us by the great teachers like Neville Goddard and Joseph Murphy, and Florence Scovel Shinn, is that everything is for your good. There is only one power. That moment of extreme confusion and terror and despair and all of these thoughts and stories, flying all around you, inside the eye of the storm, that is serving you, that it is coming up to be released, that it is your system that is loving you, you know what I mean? Saying, hey, this doesn't fit anymore. Your consciousness has expanded beyond this point. Here is the problem I am presenting to you. And you need to do something with this. We need to do something with this. Here is where you are still bound. Here is where we still have room to improve on our trust and our faith and our belief. How you react and respond, how you regard these types of thoughts, this is where your power is. So there are two ways you can look at it. It is totally 100% up to you. In my opinion, one feels more empowering, okay? And so I choose that, not under spiritual attack, regardless of how you revere those moments, okay? If it is so dark and you cannot see, and you are so confused, there is one tool that I give to you, okay? You just throw yourself a line out there by saying over and over and over again that this is for my good, regardless of how you see it, that this is for my good, that I'm going to make it. This is for my good. The good is coming out of this. I'm going to see through this. I'm going to make it to the other side. I'm going to clear this storm. I don't know how, and my body doesn't believe it, and I don't know that I fully believe it, but I'm going to use this tool that God has given me. And in here and I'm going to use this tool, and I'm going to say, I'm going to make it. I'm getting out of this. I can't see right now. You say what you need, but just know that that's where you're going. And affirm over and over again. As Florence Scovel Shinn said, this adverse situation is for my good. There is nothing for me to resist here. I'm gonna, So getting back to the little small story that was given to me, okay? And again, it seemed insignificant, but I followed it because I know better at this point. And so do you. You know better. And so the small story was this idea of me being a young child in this world, in the home that I grew up in, with the parents that I grew up in. And I do believe that I chose them prior to birth. But being told no, how I was taught to handle that, being told that I can't have something, or that something didn't make sense, or that I can't always have what I want. People don't always get what they want. This very small story. As a child, it left me moving into one of two ways. Okay? I learned that to resist that answer in the moment, in the 3D, was torment. And that the better choice was to accept the problem, or what that person said to me, what that adult said to me, or even sibling. That if I resisted it, that didn't feel good. Okay? That felt worse, resisting it. Okay? In my child mind and body, that felt worse than accepting disappointment. That felt worse than accepting that I'm supposed to be sad, that I'm just supposed to lose sometimes, that it makes more sense that I should come to terms with not getting what I want. I did not know, I was not raised or taught, conditioned, that there was another choice, that I could revise, that my imagination had power. And I can remember and I can recall moments, let's say that I wanted to go and be with friends, or that I even wanted something that I saw that I liked at the store, whatever it was that I wanted to stay up later, whatever it was. I can recall using God, my imagination, and just imagining that it were different, that my parents were different, that the situation was different, that we had more. And then when it would not show up, I made the assumption that imagining was a waste of time, that it didn't work. And I came to this understanding this morning, and I'll put it here, is that fantasy is the word, and not fantasy in terms of book genres, but fantasy is the word that we use to describe or label imagination that feels too far from natural. Imagination or fantasy is the word that we use to label a reality that feels so distant in self-realization and in conceptualizing oneself. And so as a child, I learned that imagination does not solve problems. Failing to see, as one child might, that I've never stopped imagining. But this is where imagining worst case scenarios became natural. This is where imagining things that I do not want as right from me came. It was taught, practiced, and accepted by me. This is where we gave our power away in little stories like this, over and over and over again. I learned that imagining, not that imagining doesn't work, that imagining good for me doesn't work. And that is where the separation and the divide comes from. And then we go through life establishing assumptions to support core beliefs such as this, not truth, not law, but regarding it as law. So here we go. From small stories just like this one, I took on and accepted that rejection, unwanted outcomes, and problems it is the law, is God, is life. My conditioned allegiance to the problem, to the 3D rejection, to the unwanted outcome, on top of my belief that this is obedience, that this is how one solves problems, that this is diligence and responsible, to accept that it is a no, right? And this is where manipulation comes in. Manipulation is our way around it because we weren't taught how to leverage our imagination. We've been imagining the whole time. We just use our powers for evil or for the things we don't want, right? Not that we create evil like in that sense, but we're using it against ourselves by imagining that the problems don't get solved. We have an allegiance. We made a crazy contract, an allegiance that life has problems. Life doesn't go the way we want. We've heard it say life is a bitch and then we die, right? These things come from some small story. Connect with your power, with your God, and find out what that small story is for you. Maybe it's here in this one. But connect, what is it for you? When did you separate yourself from your true power, your self-authority? And so when I didn't see the desired outcome, okay, when I didn't see the outcome that I wanted when I wanted it, I just wrote it off like, this doesn't work. This is fantasy, right? Still imagining though. Imagining problems. Preparing for the worst case scenario is a hell loop. It's a death sentence. It's not a strategy for life. And here was the deeper part that revealed itself to me. This supports that we are 100% the creators of our reality. Me accepting that the lives are made with no's, and that I can't have everything that I want, and that imagining things that are good is not for me, and all of the things that come with that is similar to having a bunch of landmines in my hand, invisible landmines, and throwing them out in front of me on the unseen path, right? The unidentified, yet to be defined, and then praying to God that I don't hit them, that I don't hit these landmines that I threw out. What are the landmines? The bullshit that I have accepted is possible for me. The unwanted imaginings. That is, and me saying that's likely to happen to me because it happened to her and I look like her, or it happened to them and I come from them. This is likely for me. This is probably going to happen. And so I unconsciously take these invisible landmines and I throw them out ahead of me. And I ask God and the angels and the guides and the spirit animals to help me not hit them. And then I hit them. But I forgot that I've unconsciously put it out there. And so since I forgot that I unconsciously threw out that breakup, threw out that toxic partner, right? Threw out that failure, that incomplete thing, then I make more assumptions, lodging me deeper and deeper into this maze of despair. It's a spell. It's not a curse. It's a spell we put on ourselves unconsciously by accepting the beliefs of others, by accepting no as a possibility, by accepting that we could be misled, that we could be corrupted. This is where anxiety comes from. This is where doubts come from. This is where that shit comes from. Our inadequacies, our low self-esteem, low self-worth, our shakable trust and penetrable faith comes from over and over and over in this spiral of doom, in this, you know what I mean? And it's just an illusion. The anchor is made of sand, Ernest Holmes. The chain is not real. But all has to obey the belief systems that you hold. All in your world has to obey the belief systems that you hold. It doesn't have a choice. That is law. And so, to finish up the thought, we make the assumptions when we hit it, when we hit the landmine, and we go all types of places. If you have religion, you may justify the pain. You may justify the delay. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's a way to turn water into wine. That's a way to kind of, you know what I mean? But we do. That's the best case scenario in hitting a landmine. And I'm not saying I'm not saying you said, here goes divorce and here goes, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is what we throw out in front of us is what we believe is for us, based off of what we come in contact, other people's stories, and we say unconsciously, very subtle. That's possible. That's possible. And if at an early age you realize, like, my wildest dreams don't come true, I don't see other people's wildest dreams coming true. what I see, it really just depends on what you see. And I do believe that Creator is bringing these to the people that it's supposed to, that is supposed to serve you. And so I'm not going to assume that it doesn't resonate. But then we make these assumptions about ourselves that continue to do these things. So said another way, and I say this, and let me tell you, you want full authority, you want that, you want all that power, you have to be able to accept that everything that has happened in your life, in your experience, from your concept, from your being able to perceive it and see, you have to be able to accept that you created that too. Otherwise, you're divided. You're not the yin and yang. You have to accept that all of it. And it's empowering. It helps you to see and move forward and create better and evolve and grow. The separated halves can become one. You can become whole. But if everything good comes from a good one and everything bad comes from a bad one, then you're divided. Nothing wrong with that, but it is what it is. And so I was able to see that every painful thing, every struggle, everything that and I do justify, I do say that it has helped and developed me. I don't, you know what I mean? It has helped me to come here, to be here, to be able to look at my two halves and put them together. But everything that has happened to me only happened to me because I had belief systems in place that said that was for me. And so how do I get the softer life? First, it comes with accepting and acknowledging that, recognizing that. And then it comes time to break the spell. I am no longer giving any allegiance or any power away to the problem. Us with the whole planning for the worst and expecting the worst and being prepared, disguised as wisdom, it's not. You get what you prepare for. You get what you accept or expect. We've heard these things. And they couldn't really find a home inside of us because we got this other thing that says you got to prepare. You got to be prepared for anything. Keep your head on a swivel, right? What? What? And you can. You can. And I know that this information is just the first part. And be prepared for the wave, the wave inside your body, where it's going to feel like it's not working and it's not healing. Because this goes deep. You're removing something deep. You're releasing yourself. And you don't need anybody else's permission. You don't need anybody else. You made this contract. You gave this away. And so, with a noisy body, just lay there and know what's happening to you. Your body is releasing. Get into the idea that your body wants to let it go, that everything is in support of you. Again, if you like the energetic attack experience, because I know that's what it feels like. It's so easy to accept that. Trust me, I understand. I came out of 2 days of that. But it's not warfare in my heart, in my mind. This is birth. This is delivery. You know what I mean? You're being birthed. And all of life wants you to come out. So we've been making these assumptions from a very small, quiet story. And if you listen, if you connect, it'll tell you. And it may seem insignificant. You follow it. The trail of breadcrumbs. You follow it. So yeah, from there we can forgive. We can forgive all the trespassing. We can forgive everything that's happened because it could not come to us but by God. No longer divided. There is no chain. There is no anchor. There is no spell. You have been safe inside of the storm, in the eye of the storm this whole time. And your body is waking up. All of you is waking up because you're ready. It's time. We don't have any allegiance to the problem. That's not wise, and that's not obedience, and that's not diligence. We've been trusting in the problem too long. We've been trusting in the things we don't want too long. We can't fall in love with our desires. We can't fall in love with the vision that God has given us, the source has given us, because we are all in the problem. Our hearts, some part of our heart is married to the problem. And that's what I was feeling. I was feeling like literally blocked, like in my mind, like my mind wouldn't let me go to God, to my answer, to the solution, to the things that I want. Wouldn't let me find the problem or the solution, wouldn't let me find the solution. Because I've been married now, all my faith, all my love, all my trust, all my energy, all my power is like, this is obedience. This can't get done or solved unless I am vigilant and I have to stare it down to death and I have to disintegrate it. It has to be totally gone out of sight. That's not wisdom. That's learned survival mode. And you forgive it. And you forgive them. So we are whole. Claim it in the comments. I am whole. I'm not divided. All my power and allegiance is to I am, is to God, is to me, is to love. If your thing is righteous, if your thing is good to you, good for you, and good for others, it's yours. It's yours. And you do this work, you do this so that you can do as you were born to do, naturally do. The state is not being created. You are returning to your natural state where imagination of the wanted things, Jesus Christ, by the way, that is Christ consciousness. God is imagining all things, is infinite. And Jesus Christ is the choice to use it, to wield your imagination for advancement, expansion, improvement, abundance, love, perfect self-expression, answers. So now you can fall in love. And I was wondering, what was it that was keeping me? Because I would get a vision, but then it felt like it was just being pulled further and further away from me. And then I was hearing people in my ear saying stuff like, oh, that's not for you, in readings and in just advice and conversations that people were saying. I was feeling people were coming to me telling me that that's not for you, that's impossible, that's a waste of time. God is trying to tell you that you can't have that. And I was feeling like divide it. Like, okay, maybe they're right because I can't see it. I can't get into there and live in the end and feel it. Mm. So you claim it over yourself that it's all gone, that the illusions are gone, that you are no longer divided, that that's not how you solve problems, by living in the problem, by preparing for the problem, by expecting the problem. And then we live in the end. We've been using our imagination this whole time. I've been saying that this whole time. So now what we were doing was just imagining the things we don't want and then trying to figure out a solution around from that. Like, okay, that bill didn't get paid. And so reclaim your power. It is yours. Nothing is holding it from you. Nothing is trying to keep it from you. You are good. You are in the right place. Forgive them. I want to thank you so much for being here with me, holding this with me, growing this with me. If it is on your heart to support me and to support this channel, you already know what to do. I want you to free yourself. I want you to break every chain today. I want you to forgive. Forgive yourself, forgive the situation, forgive the past. It is time to cut those contracts. It is time to cut off the past. You cannot lose the wisdom. It is with you. It is time to choose butterfly. It is time. I want you to come back and have more conversations like this one with me. Thank you again. Be well.